Good morning, good morning, good morning, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Breakfast Show, Marisha LaShay. It is so good to be here before you guys this morning. So welcome. Come on in, sip your coffee, eat your breakfast, turn me up if you are listening in the car, in the office, but not too loud. We want to keep our day job. So it is season 5. We are continuing on with season 5 of the Breakfast Show with Marisha LaShay, and I'm still celebrating. I'm still excited. I'm still happy. Okay, it's good to be back before you all under the sound of my voice, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life. I have had the opportunity to complete 4 seasons before I have arrived here at season 5. And I don't take this opportunity for granted, nor do I take it lightly. But I appreciate God for being with me and being the inspiration, going from different places and seeing different people. I'm eternally grateful, and I will always keep expressing my gratitude because it keeps me grounded. For the next part of the show, I always like to thank God and just acknowledge the people that love me, which keeps me replenished, which keeps me going. Thank you, God, first and foremost, for giving me my gift of gab. Thank you for my parents, my son, my baby. Thank you for my family, my friends, my supporters. None of this would be possible without you guys tuning in to actually listen to me, right? Then I want to share with you guys a little brief history on how the Breakfast Show Marisha LaShay came about, how it actually started. So originally, it began in November of 2020 during the pandemic. All right, sorry, you guys, just kind of lost your train of thought. Meanwhile, so as I was saying, it began during the pandemic as my dad and I were working on projects and having morning meetings. One day in our morning meeting, my dad and I created the breakfast show with Marisha LaShay because we were asking each other thought provoking questions, and I ran with the idea of being able to reach a bigger audience with some of these thoughts and creating an actual safe space for others to engage my content. Then we decided that I will only go live in the months that have 30 days, which are April, June, September, and November. So for the next 28 days, I will continue the sorry, not 28, 27 days. I will continue the marathon of using my gift of gab to inspire, motivate, and encourage others to reach for the stars because the sky is not the limit, right? So, with that being said, moving into the next part of the show, and that is when we mentally check in with ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst day of my life, and 10 being the best day of your life. Can you be a below a 1 and can you be above a 10? Yes, you can. Nobody can begin to tell you how you feel and actually validate your emotions. So, this is your moment where you are actually checking in to see how you are feeling at the start of your day. So for me, honestly, my morning definitely started very, very low before I got on here to speak with you all. I say I was about at a low 2, and it's been a few hours. So I'm at a good 8. It takes a little bit of checking in with God. It takes a little bit about, just kind of giving your body time to wake up because depending on what happened the night before or how you slept, that can kind of decipher how you're going to feel in the morning. So, yeah, I'm here though. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be before you guys and actually sharing some really great stuff for you guys. So, with that being said, feel free to drop your numbers in the comment area. Depending on which platform you're on, please feel free to drop it, share. If you don't feel led to share, that's fine as well. But I'm about to be ready to move on to the next part of the show, and that is going to be the question is. So the question for today is, as a parent, what is your parenting style and why? The question is, as a parent, what is your parenting style and why? First, allow me to share with you what the 4 types of parenting styles are. You have authoritative, you have authoritative, you have permissible, permissive, permissive, and you have uninvolved slash neglectful. So I have an article to share with you guys today to kind of go more in detail about each parenting style. This is from a great doctor by the name of Dr. Hansa. And this article was written by Miss Barbara Brody. So some parents expect their kids to do exactly what they say, no questions asked. Others micromanage every aspect of their child's life in effort to keep them safe and to set them up for success. And yet others embrace a laid back approach, allowing their offspring to make their own choices on just about everything. If more than one of these approaches with you, if more than one of these approaches resonates with you, yet none seems like a perfect fit, that's okay. Although psychologists and parenting experts frequently attempt to sort parents into neat categories, I think very few of us fit into rigid buckets, and people can swing between the various styles, says Jibdepa Talsing, which is a PhD, a New York-based clinical psychologist and clinical supervisor at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai Medical Center. You might find yourself shifting based on your child's age, your child's temperament, or even the time of the day. When you wake up and full of mental energy, you might practice authoritative parenting, meaning there are clear rules and consequences. But when rules are broken, we can sit down and actually talk about it, says Jenny Yip, which she is a Psych D clinical assistant professor at the psychiatry at the USC Keck School of Medicine and the founder of the Little Thinker Center in Los Angeles. However, as the day dwindles and your energy dwindles, you might find yourself feeling overwhelmed and tell your kids, do whatever you want. That's permissive parenting. Or you might be so upset because a child broke a rule for the 10th time that you act like an authoritative parent and take all of their toys away. At some point, you might just want to have a glass of wine and hide in the closet, which would mean acting like an uninvolved parent. Psychologists tend to focus on the key parenting styles, four of them: authoritative, permissive, uninvolved slash neglectful. If you're authoritating, for authoritative or authoritating parenting, if you've ever told your kids to do something because I'm the dad or I'm the mom, that's authoritating. It's the most traditional style because parents are clearly in charge and the children are expected to fall in line no matter what. On the plus side, kids whose parents take an authoritative approach know exactly where the boundaries are and what the consequences of violating them will be. It also makes good sense in select circumstances. Certain things like wearing a seatbelt in a car or a helmet when you get on a bike might not be negotiable, Tossing says. The downside, however, is that this kind of model only views respect one way. Children have to respect parents, but parents don't necessarily have to respect children. Authoritative parenting also lacks flexibility because the overarching rule is it's my way or the highway. Yip says, while kids might mind in the short term, the parent-child relationship tends to lack warmth. Those raised with such strict rules might be more apt to rebel when they become teenagers. Also, kids who see their parents as bullies might take note and start bullying their peers, Yip says. Permissive parenting. Permissive parenting is the polar opposite of authoritative. Permissive parenting wants to be their child's best friend, Yip says. On the plus side, that makes them very nurturing, but being too easy also has downsides. The problem is there are no limits, she says. If you're always allowing a child to do whatever they want, they will never understand that in the real world, there are consequences to their actions. Permissive Parenting can also force children to make too many choices before they're ready. You probably don't want your child to have two hot fudge sundaes for dinner every night, Thompson says, but a parent who's permissive across the board might very well let that happen. Authoritative parenting. Most psychologists consider authoritative parenting to be the sweet spot between authoritative and permissive parenting. Research shows that it strikes the best balance. It's usually what ends up being most comfortable for both the children and the parents because it tends to reduces conflict. Thompson says kids feel safer in terms of knowing what the boundaries are and they can trust and rely on them, and parents feel safer in asserting the boundaries. Yet warmth and flexibility are also a part of the equation. Authoritative parents, unlike the authoritarian counterparts, enforce rules but not without discussing them and the reasons behind them. Kids are welcome to provide input and ask questions, though they don't get the final say. Sometimes a rule may not make sense, Yip says. Rather than telling them just do as I say, you're able to have a dialogue and respond and be flexible. Uninvolved slash neglected parenting. This type is similar to permissive, minus the nurturing. Uninvolved parents are completely hands off. Their mantra is, you do what you want, I really don't care, Yip says. While even the most daunting parent might drift into this category when they're really worn out. No expert would suggest taking this routine oftentimes. People who are raised by uninvolved parents are more prone to anxiety and depression. Yip says, imagine if you had an absent parent who neglected all of your needs and didn't provide for you. You might feel like you're not important. We also are talking a little bit about helicopter parenting. Helicopter parenting isn't an official parenting style, but it's one that's gotten a lot of attention in recent years. As for most approaches, aside from neglectful, it stems from a good place. Helicopter parents want to protect their kids, keep them happy, and set them up for success so badly that they become over involved in their lives. The problem, Gibbs says, is that these folks often wind up micromanaging their child's life, completing science fair projects for them, or calling their friends' parents to mediate a fight. As a result, their kids don't learn how to handle their own problems or withstand any kind of disappointment. The problem with over involved parenting is that it doesn't prepare children for the real world and doesn't equip them with the resilience, says Yip. It's telling, she says, that more than a quarter of young adults who enroll in college for the first time don't return to campus for their sophomore year. Free range parenting. This might be viewed as a type of permissive parenting, but it can include plenty of rules and guidance. There are different ideas about free range parenting, plus Nora Kazenze, who trademarked the phrase in her book, Free Range Kids, How to Raise Safe, Self-Reliant Children Without Going Nuts with Worry. She defines the free range parenting as trusting kids to do more by themselves, including walking to school without parents in tow, preparing simple meals, and figuring out how to pass the time when they get bored. A scrape, a spat, an afternoon with nothing to do. We not only think they can handle these things, we believe that they grow more resilient once they discover their own resourcefulness, she says on her website. Yip says taking a more hands-off approach when a child is ready makes a lot of sense. We don't let kids out of our sight anymore. That tells them they can't handle it. If parents misinterpret this philosophy or apply it to a child who isn't ready for more independence, however, it will veer into a neglectful territory. Attachment parenting. Attachment parenting is a term coined by pediatrician William Shears, MD, and Martha Shears, RN. Refers to being both physically and emotionally in tune with your child from the moment of birth. Key tenets include breastfeeding, baby wearing, and co-sleeping in the same bed or room. While the main goal is to create a secure bond between the parent and the baby, many attachment parenting fans say it can also shape how you raise your older children. However, they might oppose enforcing strict bedtimes or forcing kids to eat vegetables. Attachment parenting is all about prioritizing love and nurturing environment, which is mostly a good thing. Towson says, there's such a catch. Strict following this philosophy often puts too much pressure on parents and mothers in particular. They may feel that they have no choice to breastfeed on demand or co-sleep, even if it takes a toll on them. On the other hand, it's easy to take the notion of attachment parenting too far, Yip says. This could include letting a child choose when to stop breastfeeding, even if that child is 4 or 5 years old. At that point, you have to question whether you're really doing what's best for the child because you might be hindering their social emotional development, she says. Is one style the best? Whatever approach or combination of approaches you tend to rely on, chances are you're doing okay as long as you keep your child's best interest in mind, Towson says. None of us, including myself and my colleagues, has a lock on how to be the perfect parent. So, after recapping this particular article, I have identified with what my parenting styles can possibly be in combination. So for me, um, I started off as authoritative. I do what I say. I'm the parent. I pay the bills. I do this. That part right there, yeah. As a single parent, I don't think that that is going to rock out well with me on my end because I am a single parent. So if I'm coming out like that and he don't have no voice, I think that I'm creating a barrier where he's not going to want to come talk to me because it's always my way and it's no other way, depending on what the particular topic is. Because when he get out of line, yeah, I'm jumping down his throat. I don't want to hear nothing. But then at the same time, as time have come and I began to understand my son on a different scope, permissive when I've just had enough. Like I'm just over the day. He's done too much. I've I didn't lost my cool. Permissive is what's happening because I worn out. But having a balance of both worlds is authoritative because actually sitting him down, I've kind of flipped on the switch of authoritative because now I'm making him pick his punishments. I'm sick and tired of you acting this way. And I feel this way when you do this, when we have already previously talked about this. Now he's involved in the actual process because he has to understand as the older he get, I'm not gonna always be whooping his behind. I will whoop him, but as a parent, my temper is through the roof. So whooping him may not be the other thing because that might lead into a bigger situation of me not having control over myself. So with authoritative parenting, I've been sitting him down. I've been asking him, what happens when you don't follow the rules? What can happen to you? And at that point, he's able to explain to you, okay, mom, if I don't follow your rules, A, there's going to be a consequence associated with that. He knows this because it's been repeated to him so many times. And these kids are manipulative, especially the type of child that I have. He's manipulative to be able to get what he wants. He's been off key with his different rituals and routines. And what do you do about that? Make him do it over and over again. Take away certain things that you know that he loves to do. Take them away. But in the midst of me changing parenting styles, it's been helping me to kind of deal with myself because as parents, we go through a lot. And it's not to justify, but we're raising a different type of kid in this day and age. So whooping that child all the time is not always going to be the case. Actually, sitting down to talk to your child to get to the root of the problem would be. But at the age that he is at, he know what's going on. He know what's going on. You can't sit up here and act like you don't know what's going on when you know. And that's just period, for real. If they able to tell you and communicate with you, he's 8. He know what's going on. He understands why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. I don't always explain everything, but he understands that there's a consequence for certain behavior, especially if you have been given a verbal warning and then you still decide to do what you want to do. That has to come into a play of accountability. And don't put it all on the child because both of y'all, you're the parent, you're leading, but not all the time in a sense of you do what I say or or it's trouble. No, because you're still hindering
You're not having a safe place for that child to be able to come in and talk to you as they are going through different things or different things that are happening at school. Because ever since my son been in school, baby, they've been on my line calling me for different things. And you have to begin to assess what the situation is with you knowing who your child is and what your child does. So it's just being able to actually have the discernment to be able to decipher what is actually happening with your child. What are they actually going through? How are you helping your child to identify their emotions and what you're going through as a parent? Are you allowing that to spill over, or are you pointing the finger to blame the child for the way that you parent? Or are you picking up different things that you learned from your mother or your father? Or, I mean, just different things. So, I mean, this is just like a jam packed subject. I'm not going to stay on here going on and on and on. I'm just going to stop right there. We could pick this up at another time. And yes, so with that being said, that is the close of the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for allowing me to share my article, my thoughts about what my actual parenting style is, what are the 4 types of parenting style, and things like that. I'm going to drop the link in and y'all can definitely go back and check it out. If you feel led to check it out, no worry at all. I'm just go ahead and put that in there for you all. Thank you guys for tuning in on another episode of The Breakfast Show with Marisha LaShay. Just want to give you my quick stats of my goals that I had last year that I told you guys about. As of today, we have 449 active listeners out of 1,000. So I'm still working on that goal. That's still one of my main goals. And last time I talked to you guys, I had 7 countries. I am now at 12 countries and 183 more countries to go. And as far as for platforms, I'm on a total of 10 platforms now. And coming soon, I will be having subscriptions coming where you'll be able to get subscribed to subscriptions and content dropping monthly, or have to figure that out. And I'll also be having a coaching program coming as well for those who want to create a podcast and don't know where to actually begin. So with that being said, thank you guys. Have a blessed I said Tuesday, Monday. Sorry, I don't know what my mind is. I'm kind of thrown off. Thank you. See you later.